interactions to happen. But when we allow cell phones in conference rooms, we just,
So I'm
okay, have the meeting.
embarrassed
And then my favorite is like when there's a cell phone.
that I have a career.
There you go.
I talk about things like trust
It rings
and
in.
cooperation, and there should be no
I'm
demand
not
for
going to
my
answer
work.
that.
But the
This
fact of the
demand
matter
matters,
is
you know?
there is demand for my work, which means that there's an opportunity. Are not yet
I do this with my
standard in
friends.
our
When we're going out to
organizations, and
dinner,
yet
we're
they should
meeting
be, and we
together.
know that, which is why we're looking
We'll
for
leave our
ways
cell phones at
to
home.
bring those things
Who we call.
to
Maybe
our
one of us will bring a phone in
organizations.
case we need to.
So I thought I would do something a little different today. You know, when you're speaking to tens of thousands of people and you have the opportunity to share a message, of course, most rational people would say, let's go with something I've talked about lots of times and I'm really good at, but I'm
We'll take one
not
phone.
normal, so I'm going to do something
it's
completely
like an
new,
alcoholic. The reason
and
we
I
take
hope
the
this works
alcohol
out.
out of the house is because we
There are
cannot
two
trust
things that I
ourselves.
think that
We're
great
just not
leaders
strong
need to
enough.
have.
But when you remove the
Empathy and perspective.
it actually
And I think
removes
these
a
things
lot.
are very often
So
forgotten.
when you just say, don't
Leaders
check
are so
your phone,
often
people
so
literally
concerned
go like
about
this.
their
And somebody go
status
to
or
the
their
bathroom, and what's the
position in
first
an
thing you
organization.
do?
They actually forget their real job.
Because I wouldn't want to
And the
look around
real
restroom
job
for
of a
minute
leader
and
is
half,
not about
you know?
being
But if you
in
don't have the
charge,
phone,
it's about taking care of those
just kind
in
of
our
enjoying
charge.
the world.
And I don't think people
And that's where ideas
realize this,
happen.
and I don't think people
The
train for
constant
this.
engagement is
When
not
we're
where you have
junior,
innovation and ideas.
our only
Ideas
responsibility
happen when our
is to be
minds
good at our
wander.
jobs. That's all we really have to do. And some people actually go get advanced educations
Right, but we're taking away all
so
those
that they
people.
can be really good at their jobs, accountants
not-
or whatever,
and none of
right?
us- none
And you
of us
show
should charge our
up
phones
and you
by
work
our
hard,
minutes. We should
and the
charge our
company
phones
will
by
give
our
us tons
Right?
and tons
Remove
of
the
training
temptation. You wake
how
up in
to
the
do
middle
our
of the
jobs. They'll show us how to use
won't
the
check your
software. They'll send us away for a few days to
But
get
it's in the living room.
trained in whatever it is that we're doing for the company.
fine.
And then they expect
I-
us to go be
it's
good
my
at
life.
our jobs. And that's what we do. We work very hard. And
It costs
if
$8.
you're good at your job,
I'll
they'll
buy
promote you. And at some
Right?
point,
But the point is,
you'll get
we
promoted to a
now
position where
in
we're
the
now
industry,
responsible for the people
whether
who
we like
do
it
the
or
job.
not,
They
build
actually
it.
do know how to do the job better than us.
Learn
That's what
social
got them
skills.
promoted.
Find a better balance between
Really, what we have to do is go through a
Because,
transition.
quite frankly, it's-
Some people make it
it's the right
quickly,
thing to
some people make it slowly, and unfortunately, some people will never make that transition at all.
Thanks for
Which is
having
we have to go through this transition of being responsible for the job and then turning into somebody who's now responsible for the people who are responsible
ironic,
for the
isn't it?
job.
So-
Are not
so, yeah,
teaching
I'm an
us
older
how to lead.
But
And
but I will
leadership
tell you
is
one
a
thing. So,
skill
I have
like
a new
any
book
other.
coming out
It is a
in
practicable,
September.
learnable skill, and it
it's a
is
thinly
something that
veiled
you
plug.
work on. It's like a muscle. If you
what's-
practice it all the days,
special about it is
you will
I
get
wanted
good
to
at it, and
produce
you will
something
become a strong leader. If you stop practicing, you will become a weak leader. Like parenting, everyone has the capacity to be a
illustrated
parent.
quote book.
Doesn't mean everybody wants to be a parent, and doesn't mean everybody should be a
I
parent.
didn't want the illustrations done on a
Leadership is the same. We
There's
all
a
have the
song,
capacity
Our Black,
to be a
the
leader.
singer, Grammy
Doesn't mean
nominated
everybody
singer.
should be a
The
leader,
book is
and it
called
doesn't mean
Together is
everybody
Better.
wants to be a leader.
He gave me a song.
And the reason is because it
Music
comes
is
at
back in
great
the book.
personal
Actually, the lyrics are in
sacrifice.
his handwriting. Actually,
Remember,
his handwriting.
you're not in charge, you're responsible
best
for
part.
those in your
book
charge.
is sent
That means things like when everything
He's
goes
sent it
right,
with a
you have to
custom
give
scent
away all the credit.
made by this
And when everything
amazing
goes
company
wrong,
called
you have to take
1229,
all the
and they designed it with
responsibility.
the scent of
That
office.
sucks, right?
All right. So
It's
you
things
smell
like
the
staying
pages
late to
and they
show
smell
somebody
like
what to do.
Okay.
It's things like when something
And the
does
thing that I
actually
love about
break,
this
when something goes wrong,
can't do that.
instead of yelling and screaming and taking over, you
I
say,
wanted to create something
try
that
again.
had to physically
When the overwhelming pressures are not on
designed to
them,
be given
the
as a
overwhelming
gift. The first
pressures
page says
are on
to,
us.
from.
At the end of the day, great
wanted it to be
leaders
given
are
as a
not
gift to someone
responsible
who
for the
wants to
job. They're
inspire
responsible
you
for the people who are
or
responsible for
to
the
give
job.
someone,
They're not even responsible for the results. I love talking to
designed
CEOs
to
and say,
promote
what's your priority? And they put their hands on their hips all proudly and say, my priority is my customer. I'm like, really?
I'm really proud.
You haven't talked to a customer in 15 years.
Super unique.
Yeah, it's fun.
It does.
There's no CEO on the planet responsible for the customer.
So much to
They're just
people.
not.
It's just really
They're responsible for the people
And
who
what
are
you shared with us
responsible for the
today,
people
honestly.
who are responsible for the customer.
Absolutely wonderful.
Appreciate
I'll
it.
tell you a
Thank
true
very
story.
much.
A few months ago, I stayed at the Four Seasons in Las Vegas. It is a wonderful hotel. And the reason it's a wonderful hotel is not because of the fancy beds. Any hotel can go and buy a fancy bed. The reason it's a wonderful hotel is because of the people who work there. If you walk past somebody at the Four Seasons and they say hello to you, you get the feeling that they actually wanted to say hello to you. It's not that somebody told them that you have to say hello to all the customers, say hello to all the guests, right? You actually feel that they care. Now, in their lobby, they have a coffee stand. And one afternoon, I went to buy a cup of coffee, and there was a barista by the name of Noah who was serving me. Noah was fantastic. He was friendly and fun, and he was engaging with me, and I had so much fun buying a cup of coffee, I actually think I gave 100% tip, right? He was wonderful. So as is my nature, I asked Noah, do you like your job? And without skipping a beat, Noah says, I love my job. And so I followed up. I said, what is it that the Four Seasons is doing that would make you say to me, I love my job? And without skipping a beat, Noah said, throughout the day, managers will walk past me and ask me how I'm doing, if there's anything that I need to do my job better. He said, not just my manager, any manager. And then he said something magical. He says, I also work at Caesar's Palace. And at Caesar's Palace, the managers are trying to make sure we're doing everything right. They catch us when we do things wrong.